Right, and we're back. What I'm going to be doing now is I'm just going to be reviewing your website on a very handy website online called Responsinator. And what it allows you to do is just test your website from a mobile perspective. As you can see here, we've got the iPhone 5 open with your website inside it, and it just gives you an overall general idea of how it responds. From what I can see, it's actually responding quite well. There aren't really any major issues. There's some good line alignment and spacing and padding. I'm not really seeing any problems when it comes to any styling issues. Your main top menu seems to work sort of okay. Let's click on Documents. This, I'm assuming, would activate the native menu, which should work generally quite well. We go to the Documents. That seems to load okay. Let's move on to About Us, just to see what that looks like. Yeah, the About Us seems to load all alright. Doesn't seem to be any. I'm just really looking for any technical glitches when it comes to any layout concerns that we might have. Let's move over to the network. This, I remember, being the longest page to load because there is quite a large amount of content. Just to quickly give you an overview of the different layouts that we have, this would be the iPhone 6. Then we've got the iPhone 6 landscape. Then we've got the iPhone 6 Plus and the iPhone 6 Plus landscape. All the different little possible Android devices like the Nexuses. So we get a good idea, and it seems to be handling quite well in all of them. I think that's, a really good thing. Above all else, at least from a responsive perspective, there seems to be a little bit of alignment issues here when we go portrait on the iPod. The iPad. But apart from that, I think we're okay. Let's have a look, see what that specific blog page. I see there's a bit of wiggling that happens, but it's not the end of the world. It's just a lot of content to sort of scroll up and down from, but I think we're okay. Let's go down to one of the iPhone 6s just for the sake of being a little bit different. I'm going to log out because I see it's automatically detected that I'm already logged in from logging in earlier. I just want to go through logging in and see what that feels like. Okay, so login seems to sort of feel more or less the same as it did earlier. I sort of have to see the big header before I see the login details, and then I click the login. That sort of takes me through, I'm assuming, to the back end. Okay, there we go. Looks like I have a little bit of a profile in here. That's quite interesting. I didn't see that before. Then we've got a bit of a home button. There's a bit of a functions button. I'm not quite sure what these buttons all do. There's a bit of a nav. There we go. Friends, groups, photos. This is the type of thing I would have preferred to have seen on my desktop. It might have been a browser concern. I'm not sure. But it seems like I can navigate through everything okay. My groups, all groups, my groups, updates, pending invitations, search, create. Let's run a quick search. I'm going to search for a guy named Bob. I don't know if it'll do anything though. No, there's a bit of a category. Automotive, business, general, music. Okay. I see all the infrastructure's there. It's just I'm not seeing the people. And that's the one thing that made Facebook work really effectively, was that the second you landed on Facebook, or everybody's first experience on Facebook seemed to be generally the same. There was enough. It got to the point where it peaked and there was enough people so that everybody had that sort of 6 degrees of separation between each other, so that regardless of who you typed in or whatever your location was, you would be presented with at least one individual that you might know that you hadn't seen in a long time. And that's sort of where everything snowballed from there. Yeah, I think on the whole there isn't any major issues. I think you're okay. I think apart from the occasional alignment issue, your website responds really, really effectively, to the point that, okay, I'd see maybe 1 or 2 landscape issues might be a concern, especially on the Android Nexus. That seems to be a bit of a problem. From the iPad and the iPhones, I think they are set to the right sort of fixed width to sort of handle your snap points the way they were meant to be handled. So yeah, I think on the whole, I think the problem isn't the layout or the structure. I think, like I said before, there needs to be that clarity, especially when you're looking at a website from this type of view. You know, if I'm viewing your website for the first time on a mobile device such as this, and I land on your homepage, consider what I'm seeing. You know, I'm seeing a quotational image. I'm seeing an image of what looks like some type of old-fashioned boiler, a Google Plus icon, a bit of a warped photo of some celebrities, another sort of motivational icon, another sort of photo of celebrities, another celebrity, another Facebook icon, a child in Africa. I think that's a singer, Pink. A few more quotations which aren't as legible as I would like. I don't quite know what happens when I click on them. And then, yeah, we've got some, yeah, okay, it takes you through to the main sort of blog area. Okay. And then you've got all that content below that header content. So notice how long I was sort of scrolling for before I sort of got to the sort of discover new adventures content. And it's just, there's a lot to it. There's a lot to your homepage. And I just fear that there isn't enough sort of meaningful information that explains what your website's all about. You know, you've got one chance to win someone over. And if you flounder at that chance, somebody will leave and they will never return. You know, just as Facebook had that one chance to catch you, and that usually came on the back of a recommendation, you need to give people stuff to talk about, and you need to have that remarkability about your online product, because online businesses are very, very, very dangerous. Well, not dangerous, but very difficult, and you need to know what you're doing, and you need to make sure that you've got a solid idea, because you will end up getting to a point where you're managing traffic, enough traffic that you're not successful yet, but enough traffic that it's costing you money from an online bandwidth and an online usage perspective, and you need to make it work. Otherwise it'll end up being one of those things where you throw money into it because you've got exorbitant hosting costs, but it's not peaking at that point where it's showing an adequate return. And that's where a lot of people sort of come a little bit unstuck. So definitely something to consider. Maybe I'm going a little too overboard with regards to the criticism on it, but I'm just trying to be as straightforward and as objective as possible. I'm not trying to, I don't think I'll be seeing this app again, so I'm not giving you any advice I don't think you'll be able to use, you know. So yeah. I think let's just quickly go through the app one last time, just from a usability perspective, but on the iPad. I just want to see what your menu looks like. It seems like it's very much the same. If we click through to the documents page, let's actually go through and dig in and see what an individual document might look like. Yeah, everything seems to read okay. There aren't any major issues. I see there are a few alignment issues with some of your social buttons. That might be something worth having a look at. I'm going to click through to maybe your blog now. Let's see where that takes us. Looks like that didn't work. Let's go through to your About Us page. See what your About Us content might look like. Okay, yeah, again, very straightforward. I'm seeing a general lack of very much any imagery past your homepage. That might be something to consider. You just got a lot of straightforward content, and like I said before, you've got to be wary of putting in too much text and not giving people enough to look at. You know, I don't feel compelled to read this at all. You're just talking about your mission and your goals, and really information that isn't going to assist you at all. I want to look at imagery that can help me find my way through the site, or help explain what the website's all about, or just find my way around a little bit easier. Let's click through to maybe some of your legal policies pages or your site policies. Yeah, again, every page sort of kind of looks the same, I'm afraid. There isn't any sort of objective advice I can give from page to page. At least you do have it all in, so that's very handy. Partnerships, let's click on your partnerships page. Contest, okay, it looks like it just has to do with and then let's go to philosophy, possibly. User experience, it's the best. Okay, alright. Yeah, I think I'm getting to a point where I'm sort of clutching at straws now just to sort of fill up the review. But I think you've gotten a general idea that from a responsive perspective, I think your website is laid out right. I think the questions and concerns that you sort of have are more at a grassroots level that I sort of covered in my previous review. But yeah, anyways, I hope this review has been helpful and informative. If you have any further questions, please feel free to get in touch. I wish you the best of luck. Thanks very much. Ciao for now.